everybody, what's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel. TammyTalks here. So let's go ahead and get into the new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 1, The Edge of Fashion. If you're brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns of various TV shows, both scripted and reality, interjecting my own thoughts, opinions, and theories into each and every recap. So if you enjoy that type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel, thumbsing up the video if you enjoyed this particular piece of content, and then hopping into the comment section so we can chat a little bit about what happened on the episode, y'all. So, we know Cynthia's gone, Nene's gone, and Portia are gone from the show, but Marla finally got her peach, and now we have Sanya, who is a Olympic champion. She has 4 gold Olympics. Like, she's major. She's the fastest woman to ever run the 400 from the United States for Team USA. So those are the two that are coming in. I'm sorry, those are the 2 new peaches. And then it's been like rumored that Angela Simmons was supposed to be on the show. So I don't know if Angela's gonna be like a friend of a friend or just a friend of the show, but I guess we'll see kind of as the season progresses. But the episode starts off with Kenya rehearsing for one of her routines for Dancing with the Stars. And while she's rehearsing, she's like having like what's the word I'm thinking of? Flirtatious banter with her dancing partner. Candy shows up and also Marlo shows up. So Marlo in her confessional says that she's a legend. Legend is a bit of a strong word, but we'll let Marlo have it because she's excited to finally have her peach. Okay, so Marlo is also talking about how she had an edge transplant, and looks like they took hair from like the middle of her head and like transposed it or fused it to her edges, but the edges that she was showing to me looked like the edges of the wig she was wearing. So maybe it's me. It looked confusing, but if Marlo says she had an edge transplant and her edges are now popping, okay, but that definitely looked like the wig. Those weren't your edges, Marlo. But all right. So Kenya is like talking about her. She's gushing about her dancing partner Brandon, and Marlo was Candy was like, "Do you have a crush on him? Like, what's really going on?" So Marlo said that she now has like a fashion showroom called Le Archive, and she wants to have a party to kind of showcase it. While this is going on, Sheree comes in, and Marlo, while they're talking about this because Marlo is talking about once again how she used to sleep with a man that was a billionaire, blah blah blah. Sheree walks in, and they immediately start talking to Sheree about what's been going on with her life, including Tyrone. We know Sheree was dating this man, Tyrone, that was in jail for X amount of years. Sheree said that he's finally free and he is at home, but he's paroled to Philly, where he's from and where he actually lives. So Sheree has gone to visit him twice, like she goes twice a month. The first round of sex that they had was very quick. Sounds about right. It's a man coming out of prison. But then she said that she's now practicing abstinence. And they're all looking at her like, "Girl, are you fucking crazy? Like, how do you know he's not out, cheating on you and sleeping with a bunch of different women? Because, again, he's free from, probably sun up to sundown. You don't know what he's doing in them hours while he's in Philly and you're in Atlanta." But she said that he has all of this and she's not worried about that. And I said, "Oh, Sheree." Okay, Sheree. They move over to Kenya. Kenya reveals that she's not fully divorced from Mark yet. He has not seen the baby in a while, but she wants him to just sign the papers so that they can get fully divorced and they can kind of move on with their lives. Marla says that Kenya looks happier now than she's looked in a while. And Kenya was very giddy. She's laughing and bouncing and clapping her hands like she visibly looks happy, but we know deep down inside she might be miserable. Who knows? I've always liked Kenya, but Kenya is a mean girl. So we'll see how the season progresses, how happy Kenya really is. So they then talk to Candy. Everyone assumes that Candy and Todd are having all this sex and wild, crazy sex constantly and over. And Candy said that, they're the same. They have sex, but they're a couple too that, sometimes they're tired and they might start to get the mood right, but then they get in bed and they fall asleep, and that's just what it is. They don't have as much sex as everybody like thinks that they do. So the next scene is Marla waking up her nephews. Marla has been taking care of her nephews while her sister is incarcerated. She calls herself a Muntie. Just call yourself Aunt Marlo. Muncie don't sound right. I didn't like it. I thought they said musty at first, but Muncie, she said it's like the auntie and the mom, but a funner version. It's like you're taking care of your kids, of your niece, your nephews. She's more concerned about the fact that she might be spoiling them. She says they went from not having a lot to now they're riding in a Rolls Royce and they're wearing Yeezys and they're wearing a bunch of upper grade stuff and high class this, and Marlo is dressing them to the nines, and she wants to make sure that they're not forgetting where they came from, because now they're kind of quote unquote into money by living with their rich auntie Marlo. So we see Drew, who is headed to work out with her husband Ralph. I'm surprised they're still married, but all right. So he asks her on camera in the car while they're filming, he knows they're filming, if she uses the same glue on her wig that she does on her eyelashes. And the face that Drew made when she looked at him tells me that she didn't know he was going to ask that. That was completely off script. And she was like, why did you have to ask me that right now? He claims he's trying to fully understand. Ralph is trash. We all know Ralph is trash. And I feel like Ralph is using this show to embarrass Drew every step of the way that he can. He's going to continue that from what he did season one. I mean, not season one, but her first season, where he's out to embarrass her, right? So Ralph talks about how he played football at Rutgers. So Drew in her confessional is asking him, well, he is asking Ralph, or asking, Drew is asked, I should say, in her confessional, what position did he play? She says she doesn't know, but she calls Ralph and he tells her that he played for 2 years but never got on the field. So basically he was on the team but never actually played. You could have kept that to yourself. You could have kept it to yourself. You could have just said you used to play and we would have took it the same way. People love to play. I feel like people love to reach back and be like, yeah, in high school I was dope. In college I played. You don't have to, because unless it's professional, like nobody really cares, to be real. So we meet Sanya, who is Olympic medalist, and she's working out with Drew, and they have their husbands there. So Drew was talking about how she has to drop it with Drew, which is like a workout plan situation where she also does meal prep. So Sanya came in very hot and heavy with the shade this episode, and Sanya points out, how are we supposed to drop it with Drew when Drew can't even do a correct squat? And I said, Drew said that she was approached to do Drop It With Drew. She was battling some body image issues and stuff like that last year. And during this process, she was able to get fit and lose some weight and start to feel better about herself. Drew says that she was a track star in high school and she too could have got to the Olympics. I said, Drew, I ran track in high school too. Drew, my team won state. We were Triple Crown our senior year. We won indoor state, we won outdoor state. We killed every track meet. We won every track meet, dominated. Culmination of our high school track culmination, we won state, which was, I went to a public school. So for us to win and beat all the schools across the state of Wisconsin, major, you know what I mean? Coming from a public school in Milwaukee. So I too, yes, ran track in high school, Drew. Do I think that I was even remotely close to being an Olympian? No, and I'm sure you weren't either. Let's stop this. But what did I say before? People love to reach back in that high school bag and swear and swear for God that they two could have been an Olympian or in the NBA or in the NFL. You couldn't have, otherwise you would be. Nonetheless, she decides to race Sanya. They're doing like a little relay with their husbands. She gets dusted. Sanya looks like she is like a slow trot, and she was dusting her. But all in all, they're having a good time working out. Ralph is talking to Aaron, who is Sanya's husband, and said that he's writing a book about being a stepfather. He realized he needed some help, so he hired an assistant. Okay. Drew is telling Sanya the same situation, but she's saying that his assistant texted him offering to give him a massage. She said they had a little banter back and forth about it, and she ultimately packed up and took her kids and they went to Chicago, where Drew was from. She said that she talked to him and he told her that if he had to pick between her and his dreams, he's picking his dreams. I said, girl, you should have left him then and there. That man does not want you. Okay? And you're looking like the woman that's staying for the kids every step of the way. But we're going to see how this season plays out. But you can do better, Drew. You can. So Marlo has a lady go to each of the women's house. She's holding a laptop and she plays a video of Marlo inviting them to her event for Les Archives, which is supposed to invite them to a showing of all the clothes, introduce what the company is going to be, and she needs them to come dressed up to the nines. Marlo told the young girl who was just there to hold the laptop that it was tacky. She said it was tacky. Would I have had the woman come with a big ass laptop? Probably not. Would it have been a little cleaner, a little sleeker to have the woman maybe just hold an iPad Pro, right? You could have just held up an iPad Pro and that would have looked a lot sleeker. You know, we can do this. Instead of having that woman hold up that laptop, where I was looking at it too, like, but she's having a woman hold up the laptop, and it's basically like this, and she's standing there like this, and I'm like, this looks atrocious. Nonetheless, other ladies liked it. They thought it was classy. They were excited to go. Sanya and her family, so she tells us how she moved from Austin to Atlanta. She brought her parents with her. Her husband wants to have another child. She does not. So they're just having good conversation. We find out that they've been together for 18 years. They met in college together, and they met in college, went to the same school, and they've been together ever since. So then we see Drew is doing a meal prep taste test. She wants to invite Sanya and Candy so that she can see if they can taste the food from the Trapper with Drew and see if it's good, give her critiques, whatever the case about the plan. Drew tells them that she did have a hysterectomy. Before that, when Candy comes in, Drew tells her she has to take a shot. It's clearly like a ginger shot or a turmeric shot or something. We all know Candy does not drink, but Drew's assistant was a lot. He was a lot, and he was too much, and he was extra, and it was all at the same time. So he was telling her, honey, you need to go and drink this because it's healthy to get your body together and move your hips. And it's like, Candy too was like, okay, I'll take it. You don't have to say all of that. I'll take it. So he was a lot. We see from the trailer that he is going to be a bit of an issue later this season, but in that moment I said, oh, if he's on the show, he's going to be messy, and he looks like he gives Drew all kinds of bad advice. So Drew tells them that she did have a hysterectomy, and while she was getting the hysterectomy, she got a mommy makeover because she figured, why not go in and like clear everything up. She tells them that she lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks. And Candy looked and said, oh, okay. Production was on it tonight, and we see a side-by-side, which is, I think, a picture that was actually on Drew's Instagram, where Drew is saying and showing a before and after picture that she really only lost 10 pounds in 21 days. And it's like, you don't have to lie, Drew. You don't have to lie. It's unnecessary, especially when receipts can be produced. It is always baffling to me how many people will lie when a receipt can easily and readily be produced. So Sanya brings up the assistant. So they're talking about the situation with the assistant, and on cue, Ralph comes in and says, I see what y'all are talking about. Let's tell the whole story. Candy was like, what, was you listening? Like, what was going on? Remember last season, Ralph had cameras around the house so he can see what was really going on, even though he wasn't there. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. That's an invasion of privacy. It's a breach of trust. It's a conflict of interest. It's a whole lot of things wrong with the fact that your husband has cameras up around your house so he can see and hear everything that you are doing. Ridiculous. So, Candy asked Ralph what was his reply to the text. Ralph is saying that he's trying to flip up the wording to say that, oh, she never said that she would give me a massage. She was saying I needed one. Drew wasn't going for it. Drew was like, just be honest about what happened. Ralph is doing everything he can to deflect, to make it seem like it wasn't a big it wasn't a big deal, when in actuality it really was. Candy then asks what the assistant's name is, and he doesn't say. So Candy was like, oh, so she must have a nickname. And he was like, yeah, kind of like Candy. She was like, well, Candy is actually my name. So, because I believe Candy's name is Candace, right? So she was like, well, Candy actually is my name. So they just kind of leave that where it is. But it's like, this is not good. This is not good, Ralph. Drew, you know this is not good, ma'am, but you're going to keep doing it. So, all right. We finally get to Marlo's event for Lay Archive, all right? Marla thinks that her event will get the industry talking and opening their wallets to spend money and to use her style. So Marla has all these outfits that she has worn and all these different articles of clothing that she has accumulated over the years. She has them dressed on different mannequins in different poses, showing off wearing the outfits, okay? So as the ladies are arriving, no one understands what the hell is going on at the event. A lot of them are asking, are there models? How does this work? What is this doing? I get the idea, okay? I do get the idea of what Marlo was trying to do, but I do think that having some models would have been a good idea as opposed to just having a bunch of white mannequins all over the place. I also wonder, why didn't Marlo use like a different color mannequin? I feel like using maybe different color ones might have switched up the vibe a little bit. I personally would have used the black mannequins. Um but it was an event, okay? So Kenya shows up, and Kenya was expecting dinner, okay? Kenya was hungry. So she was like, she rented out a ballroom and didn't have a ball. How dreadful. And I said, oh, here we go. We about to get started, y'all. We about to get started. So, Sonya and Sanya, is it Sanya? I'm gonna have it. Sanya and Kenya point out how the spelling of Lay Archive is incorrect. There should not be an E. There should just be the L, the apostrophe. Samuel points out that if the name was not available, then you should have went a different way. Ah! So Drew puts Kenya to the side. They gonna meet up at the bar. And Drew feels that they just cannot get things together. They couldn't click like they needed to last season. But she wants to have a clean slate with her. Kenya feels that, hey, she is willing to start over because whatever they were beefing about just wasn't that big of a deal. Marlo finally shows up after being in the back and us getting snippets of her wanting to take a break. Her team being like, no, we need to get dressed. Marla comes out and she explains to the group that she is renting out her clothes. So on the screen, we see the total cost of what the outfit would cost or the dress and how much Marlo is charging per day. Drew very, 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 very tacky like, asked if she can order something right on screen. Marla looks at her and said, "When the last time you worked? Are you still in the industry?" And I said, "God damn." She's working the same way that you are on the reality show, Marlo. But Marlo teases her and says that of course you can, you can do whatever. When Marlo walks away, everybody stands around and is talking about how a fashion show would have been a great idea. And like I said, I think if they would have had a couple pieces, a quick fashion show to show how some of the pieces can be put together, because it seems like Marla wants to have a showroom where different stylists come to her to pick out different pieces to rent and wear for whatever the event is. And I think if Marla would have shown these clothes on people, at least some of them, it would have been a good mix of, okay, this is how this looks, to okay, this is how it looks on the body. Because we all know that the way that something might look on the mannequin, the way that something looks on the rack can sometimes be completely different to how it looks on your body, especially if you're a woman that's curvier, maybe if you're a woman that's a little shorter, or maybe if you're a woman that's taller. If you're hippier, if you're top heavy, if you're bottom heavy, you may have bigger. Like there's a plethora of different, like women's bodies comes in all shapes and sizes. So it's not as easy to look at something on the rack and say, okay, that'll work, as opposed to seeing it on a body, right? So they're all sitting down, talking, eating the lobster and cucumber bites, okay? And Sanya and Sheree run and go tell Marlo that people are complaining about the seating. No one's happy because there's nowhere to sit. People are mad because there's no food. People thought that it would be a runway. And it's like, one, Sanya, what are you doing? But we know that brand new people always come in hot and heavy trying to pick a side so quickly that they turn a whole other side against them. And then Sheree was just like, I might as well keep picking up the bones that I've been picking up, years and years before. Like, Sheree, what are you doing? Weird. So Sheree then tells her that Kenya was wondering where Marlo gets her money from. Because Marlo comes out after changing her outfit, after Sheree shaded her, says she looked at the little nasty strawberry candies that everybody's grandmother would give us in church. Kenya was wondering, where's Marlo getting this money from? Because Marlo's speech was just about how she has money and how she used to date men and like money, money, money. That was Marlo's entire thing. So Sheree tells Marlo all of this for whatever reason. It's not really clear why, aside from Sheree being Sheree. So Marlo said that this event is like being in a museum that's full of couture. And, they wouldn't understand because they're big girls. She also feels that Kenya is going to be Kenya and she's going to be haterade because that's what Kenya does. Kenya hates. And I said, oh, then it turns into she needs to go pressure wash her house. I said, not pressure wash the house. Like, they just be saying anything. So, meanwhile, back over where it's Candy, Drew, and Kenya, Candy asks Drew if she can bring up the Ralph situation to Kenya. So she does, because Candy done found the girl on Instagram, the assistant. The assistant posted a picture with the caption, "If I want to, I will." I said, oh. Oh. Okay. I said that should be an issue. So what they get from that is Ralph went and told this girl that Drew and her friends were talking about you. Because Candy said that picture was posted with that caption right around the time that they were at her house talking about it. So now Drew is putting two and two together that not only was he supposed to be firing her and he didn't, but he's now talking to this woman about the things that we've talked about and like just being super shady towards me to this woman. Why are you pillow talking to another heifer about our marriage and about how I feel about something as your wife? That was weird. So then Marlo comes over hot and heavy, and Marlo goes off on Kenya about the comments that she was saying she expected more from them, calling them haters. Kenya was like, "Why are you talking to me?" Candy comes up and said, "Well, we all said things," and kind of points to Sonya and Sheree too, because y'all were saying the same things. Marlo said, well, she expected more from the money girls, Kenya and Candy, who are supposed to be world travelers, that they would understand how this event is. She then said that she expects this out of Drew, basically saying that Drew don't have no money. She then points out that Drew has a French roll in her hair. And then production puts a damn croissant on the screen. Like, what is it? Candy then asks, how is Marlo making money from this, because she's not fully understanding. And Marlo explains that she is charging 25% of the cost of the dress per day. And Candy was like, so people are going to pay that much to rent something for a day? Candy is like, I'm not being a hater because I don't really fully understand what is going on. You know what I mean? Marlo then begins to ask Kenya if she went to private school. Kenya was like, no, I went to public school. So she then says that, oh, and you're still really smart. She asks Candy, Candy, did Escape get like homeschooled? But Candy says no. Drew says she did go to private school. Marlo like didn't have anything to say back to that. And then Marlo just says that they can sit here and continue to hate on her because that's what they do. And she walks off in a tizzy. And it's like, you didn't have to do that at your own event. Sanya and Sheree didn't have to do that at all. And it's like, Sanya, you might have just made an enemy out of Kenya for absolutely no reason. Because there was no reason for you to run over there following up behind Sheree to tell Marlo what they were saying as if y'all weren't saying the same thing. Everybody is wondering what the hell is going on at this event. Why is there no food? Why is there no fashion show? Why are we just in here looking at models? But on the flip side, Marlo had a lot of guests that she was pleased to see come. There were some celebrities there. There were some stylists there. There were some fashion bloggers there. Like, I guess the biggest black blog in the world. That the woman that runs that was there. So she's happy. She feels that that's going to translate into money in her pocket. So hopefully it works for Marlo. We'll see. But if you have not already, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.